All right, there's a lot of basketball to be talked about, so lock in. I'm going to give you 6 different stories. I'm going to have the timestamps at the bottom, so if you don't want to listen to me ramble about my favorite team being mid, like I'm about to, you can go to the timestamps, get your stupid little Fairlife protein shake that you think is going to help you gain some weight, gain some muscle. Grab it, and let's lock in. First story of the day. The Atlanta Hawks and Chicago Bulls played the other night, and the combined score in 48 minutes of game time was 302 points. The Atlanta Hawks lose in State Farm Arena. And I'm not going to go into some 10-minute tangent. I'm going to talk about every story for about, like 2 minutes. So I might make this a whole different separate video because this is my favorite team, the Atlanta Hawks. But Trae Young and Jalen Johnson just cannot be a duo. At least not under Quinn Snyder. Trae is infamously known, I don't even know if I'm using that word right, but infamously known to be a cone, a guy who cannot guard a butterfly on the basketball court, a guy who could get scored on by my grandma. And everyone knows that, but he's, an amazing offensive talent. He attracts so many defenders, gets so many shooters wide open, all that kind of stuff. People don't know about Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson is great. I love Jalen Johnson, and I hope he stays as an Atlanta Hawk for as long as possible. But he is also a cone. He is just someone who's not brutally attacked play by play. Trae Young is targeted play by play. That is like the one thing that an opposing coach's offensive game plan has. Attack Trae Young. No one says attack Jalen Johnson, but whatever they do casually, or they just randomly choose to, he is scored on every single time. These two together, at least under the Quinn Snyder system, are cones. I'm going to show some stats showing the on-off ratings of Trae Young, Jalen Johnson when they're both on, when they're both off, and it shows the offensive defensive ratings. Now, if you don't know how defensive rating works, because I don't know why you wouldn't. Sorry, I don't mean to be super mean. The higher the defensive rating, the worse defense you're playing, the more points you're giving up. And with Trae and Jalen Johnson on the floor together, now it's not the biggest sample size. It's probably a total of like 7 or 8 games, but it is absolutely brutal. And I understand that the Hornets and the Bulls are offensive-minded teams, but they are not good teams. We should not be giving up 130, 150 points. By the way, the last time a team lost scoring 150 points or more in 48 minutes of play was 2 years ago, and it was also the Atlanta Hawks. Dyson Daniels is a great defender, and Onyeka is an alright one, and we have someone off the bench named Mo Gay, and he's a good defender, but the rest of the Hawks, we're not good on defense. And I don't know if it's a coaching thing, if, the game plan is to kind of let people blow by so we can, get a chase down block, because if we have any rim protectors, because to be honest, Okongwu is not that. But honestly, the way that LeGlaze is handled, the fact that LeGlaze doesn't get more minutes when he's playing good, like every single night, Zachary LeGlaze gets 24 minutes, whether he has 25 points or he has 4 points, I just think I'm kind of over Quinn Snyder as a coach. I'm not going to lie. In my dream world, Trae Young is probably moved in the offseason, not at the deadline or anything, because I don't think we'll get that good of a deal if we do it then. But in the offseason, in an ideal world, we also get AJ Dybonsta or like Darren Peterson or something. We'll see how it goes. For now, I don't want the Hawks to make any moves unless they fire Quinn Snyder. That's the only move I want them to make. But I don't want to talk about my favorite team for too long because we have some other stories to get to. Like Steve Kerr admitting, I will never leave Steph Curry. Well, let me tell you something about NBA coaches. It is a brutal position to have to be an NBA coach. There is never a time where a coach wants to leave a team because the position is so not safe that the second you leave a team, if you're seen as an amazing coach, you are not guaranteed a second job. So of course, Steve Kerr would never leave Stephen Curry. No coach would ever leave their team. I mean, you think about Michael Malone not having a job right now, and he was known as like one of the better coaches in the NBA. If you asked anyone, like 2 years ago, he was a top 5 coach. You look at a guy like Monty Williams, he was seen as an elite coach, had one bad year with the Pistons, and then just didn't do anything since. But it is refreshing to hear Steve Kerr, Steve Kerr is a guy who will always give, this is what my friend Cam was saying, he's a Warriors fan, we have a podcast together, check it out. He loves that Steve Kerr always gives credit to Stephen Curry for pretty much giving him a job, because Steve Kerr is not an X's and O's guy, in my opinion. Even though he was a great NBA player and he's a smart NBA player, he's someone who I don't think is very good with rotations and with a true game plan outside of like the Warriors' offensive system. But man, he can really get his guys going. I mean, not this year so far, but this year is kind of a fluke year where everyone's kind of mad at each other. You can tell like Jimmy and Draymond and Curry, they're not all on the same page. They are all saying in their press conferences how no one's trying, which is pretty funny because obviously it's one of those three that's the problem. Some people think it's Jimmy and the fact that he won't elevate to that top spot. They think it's Draymond because Draymond's just not that good of a basketball player outside of, when Stephen Curry's on the floor with him. Or you can blame the other role players. Like how many chances are we going to give Jonathan Kuminga? Like seriously. He finally got the contract and everyone thought, okay, he's going to take the jump this season, and still lack of effort, lack of even offensive skill set. He hasn't been efficient this season. The playmaking isn't there. The only thing that's there is the rebounding. You could really argue their fourth best player on the team is a rookie who was like either undrafted or drafted in the late second round, and Will Richard, who has been amazing. But everyone else on that team, awful. Just get rid of them. Players like AirPods and Moses Moody, like you could only blame the organization so much if they're not playing good. At a certain point, they have to be the ones who play better because no one is stepping up offensively on this Warriors team. I mean, they have Steph and Curry, and they are 21st in the league in offense. Story number 3, the Rockets have now lost 9 games this season. 8 of them have come in clutch time. Houston is also 1-4 in overtime games. I watched last night's game versus the Kings, and it was a struggle. I mean, obviously it was a struggle. They lost the game. But their offense down the line was actually saved in that last 2 minutes of regular time because they kept getting offensive rebounds or forcing a really, really quick turnover. Their actual offense is brutal, and that's terrible when you have Kevin Durant on your team. And I'm saying their offense is terrible. And if you look at their offensive rating throughout the entire season, I'm pretty sure they're still top 5. So obviously it's not horrible, but that kind of offensive rating set, I'm pretty sure uses offensive rebounds. When it comes to putting the ball in the bucket, they are not very good at it. I think in general, Kevin Durant is still a really good player, but he has not been trying to take over games in the clutch. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you want to give everyone else the confidence during the regular season because you know, come playoff time, you would hope Kevin Durant will be that guy. But when I watch the Rockets in clutch time, the only thing I see is Sengun being the only one who truly wants it. I never see Amen Thompson play aggressive. I never see Jabari Smith try and do anything off the dribble. And maybe he shouldn't, but you know, you'd like for him to elevate his game in that way. I never really see Reed Shepherd try that hard. All I see him do is get picked on defense. Late game, it always falls to Sengun. And I think Sengun's a really great player, but he can't be the guy who's closing games. It has to be KD. It has to be Amen. It has to be Reed Shepherd. It has to be anyone else. Going into the season, I thought that they were the second biggest threat in the West, probably in the whole NBA. Next to the Thunder. Looking at how they're closing tough games, I mean, a lot of these games in the playoffs will be close, will be in the clutch. And if this is how they're playing in the regular season isn't a 1-to-1, you know, will it translate to the playoffs? But like, it's looking scary. And I really just don't know how much these like Clint Capella, Steven Adams, Sengun, like all these big men playing together, I don't know how much that'll correlate. Like, yes, you'll get the offensive rebounds, but you do need, I mean, as Kevin Durant always says, you need skilled offensive guys in the playoffs. If you can't play offense, you can't be on the floor. So how many of these Rockets guys will be playable come playoff time? Story number 4, Kevin Durant versus Bruce Brown beef. Now, if you don't remember, they were teammates on the Nets. And I would even say they were the only 2 guys in that Nets-Bucks series in 2021 when we all thought that the Nets should win it all. They're the only 2 guys that really showed up in that series, besides Kyrie Irving, who played great until, unfortunately, he got injured in that game 3. KD, Bruce Brown are both talking trash. KD loves to talk trash. He loves to talk trash to randoms on the internet, and he loves to talk trash to role players in the NBA. Now, I saw someone call him out. I forget who it was, but someone called him out for saying he only calls out these role players when they're hooping. He never calls out the stars. He's never beefing with the stars or anything. But I really do think all the stars respect Kevin Durant. And KD has no reason to talk trash to them. But what's really funny and something that no one points out is that Kevin Durant only talks trash to players that can't play offense. This dude loves offense. He lives, breathes it. He defends it on Twitter. He defends it in interviews. He loves offense. And anyone like Bruce Brown, who you can potentially leave open for an open 3, those are the guys he'll talk trash to. So that was pretty much what happened between him and Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown took a 3. KD says that's not your shot. KD then had some names to Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown then says there's some certain things that you don't say to a grown man. KD says, you know, it's all just basketball, and I didn't cross the line. And Kevin Durant was right, because in this interview, KD did say, there ain't no respect for me. There ain't no love for me. No one's doing that. Everyone's talking trash to me, and you just got to learn to live with it. And he's right. Bruce Brown. It's one thing if you hate when fans do it behind a screen or something, or shout it out, 20 feet away when they're in the crowd. Kevin Durant's doing it to you as a man to your face, and now you're mad. That's just kind of weird behavior. KD has every right to talk trash. He is the better player, and he loves basketball. And there's a reason he's talking trash, because you're trash at basketball. I almost pushed my monitor. And then Bruce Brown had the nerve to say, like, oh, I wish we could fight. Bruce, you are 6'4", and Kevin Durant is 7 foot. You would not be able to reach him before he hits you in the face. So yeah, obviously I'm taking KD's side, even though like when it comes to like Dylan Brooks versus LeBron, I'm going for the more role player who's like really about it. But Dylan Brooks is really about it. He'll really do this. Bruce Brown saying, oh, I wish we could really fight. You would not fight if you could. Straight up, I've never seen this from you. You are not a crash out. As you shouldn't be. It's just basketball. There shouldn't be fighting in the NBA, even though it would be entertaining for the fans. Anyways, on to the next story. Walt Frazier on Bam Adebayo. Maybe his girlfriend could help him with his shooting after Bam airballs a 3-pointer. Yo, let me be a commentator. If we are allowed to be this disrespectful, then let me be a commentator, and I will find every way to do something as hilarious as this. Now, does this cross any line? I don't think so. I mean, his girlfriend is an actual basketball player who's really good, and maybe Walt Frazier wasn't making a joke. Maybe he was being legit. Maybe he was saying, really, hey, listen to your girlfriend. She's telling you to shoot like this. But Walt Frazier was not doing that. Also, Walt Frazier's voice pisses me off. So if someone's going to say something like this, let it be someone with an entertaining voice. I'm not saying I necessarily have that. I think mine is better, though. I don't like Walt Frazier on the broadcast. And another reason he didn't really cross the line is he's not really wrong. I mean, Bam has really extended his range in the last couple years. He's now like a quote-unquote legit three-point shooter, but he's still below league average. It's still technically not a good shot if you're only shooting 32%. And I still don't think defenses are really guarding him from three still. So I still think he definitely needs to get better. Would I listen to AJ Wilson? No, that is not someone to take advice from when it comes to shooting, at least compared to other NBA players or WNBA players. But I just thought that was pretty funny. And then the last story of the day, Shannon Sharpe did an interview with Dwayne Wade, and Shannon Sharpe asked him what happened in 2011. And Dwayne Wade has this weird cow-out answer. I'll just say it to you guys. Me as a leader, Spo as a head coach, we have to do better to make sure he's not struggling. As a leader, I said, you didn't do enough, D. He calls himself D? I guess his name is Dwayne, but okay. There's a clip where I'm cursing LeBron out. I'm in his ear, but that's probably not the way I should have done it. Wade, bro, you don't need to glaze LeBron. You are retired. I was hoping that when guards like these retired, they'd start talking trash about everybody. Former teammates, former rivalries, former coaches, all that kind of stuff. But Wade's going to take the nice route. I don't like it. You played amazing in that 2011 finals, and you have no responsibility to help LeBron out. Now, as a teammate, do you want to? Yes, but you are now placing the blame on yourself and Spo, who Spo also deserves some blame, don't get me wrong, but that should be Spo's job. That shouldn't be your job. I understand that Wade had a championship before 2011, but you were in the same draft class as LeBron James. LeBron shouldn't need you with your jolly motivation instead of cursing in his ear to be a top 4 performer in the series, which he wasn't. He was terrible. Wade played better. Dirk played better. You could argue Bosh played better, but Bosh really didn't play great. Jason Terry played better. You could say JJ Barea played better. No, you can't. I can't say that with a straight face. But this is the guy who's supposed to be the greatest player of all time, if not the second greatest player of all time. And this isn't me saying that LeBron can't be the GOAT because of this one bad series, but we can't be given a reason for LeBron to blame his teammates. Oh, well, they should have been a better leader. Oh, the guy who's like 2 years older than me, who's been in the NBA as long as me, yeah, he should have lifted me up better. You're the greatest player of all time, dude. I hate that. And then I won't talk about it for too long, but a different clip from this same podcast. D-Wade says Shaq wanted to beat Kobe so bad he held a team meeting 16 games into the season because the Heat and Lakers had the same record. We had a meeting led by Shaq. He went off because we had the same record. We went on a 12-game winning streak, lost 1, and then won another 10. You can call Shaq annoying. You can say he's a hater. You can say he's all these things, stupid, whatever. I love Shaq's hatred towards certain people. I absolutely love it. I love the actual emotion that comes out of it. Dwayne Wade, post his retirement, has showed zero emotion. And honestly, a lot of these analysts so far have. A guy like Blake Griffin, who's been on air. Dirk, who's been on air. Steve Nash, who's been on air. John Wall, who's been on air. These guys all have these like platforms now of being part of the broadcast, post-game, pre-game, whatever. I haven't seen any emotion, and I could be wrong. Point it out to me in the comments if you guys have seen these guys truly go off. But that's what we want to see. We want to see a legit take that you are passionate about that isn't just the most obvious thing in the world. Anyway, that's my upload for the 2 months. I don't think I'm gonna upload again for another 2 months. Hopefully I do. Hopefully I start uploading 4 times a week. That's the goal. Check out the podcast in the description, and thank you. I will have more later. Goodbye.